Hi, Jennifer Witt here with the Witt Law Group. I want to talk about domestic violence. People call our office and they often say, hey, I was charged with domestic violence. In fact, at least in the state of Washington, it's actually an assault charge, assault for DV or domestic violence. But the domestic violence tag means that your attorney is most likely going to request, before you are required to do it, is going to ask that you go and do a domestic violence assessment. Those are sometimes hard to get into. Not everyone does them. Be prepared for the timeline and the work it takes to get scheduled and get that done. And be prepared to hear some tough things. When someone's charged with domestic violence, assault for domestic violence, there are situations where it was a one-off. It was a mistake, or perhaps you and your roommate were in a tussle, you were drinking, and you normally get along, because a roommate could fall under a domestic violence tag. However, if this is your spouse and you're saying things like, well, yeah, of course I monitor her phone and I lock her certain things away during the day and she can't have them, and I've downloaded software so I can see if she's on the computer, and I take her phone at night. Those are very significant red flags. Some people don't think they are red flags because they grew up that way in a home where they experienced that. And so being controlling is not seen as domestic violence. Monitoring your spouse or significant other to the point of kind of captivity is very dangerous. And so if that's the case, if that's your norm, that's how you grew up, or it's something that you think is acceptable, be prepared to hear some hard facts, because when you go to that assessment, they are very likely going to recommend that you do treatment. And in the state of Washington, that's typically an entire year. It's often one weekly meeting, group, in person. So it's a significant commitment, but many people feel at the end of it that they've learned a lot, that they kind of open their eyes to patterns that they don't want to continue with their spouse, or perhaps that relationship is just too toxic, and it's not a relationship that should continue. And importantly, they look at, did this occur in front of children? Because you certainly don't want that pattern to continue. So you may also be assigned parenting classes that relate to what happens to children when they witness this kind of trauma. So hopefully that enlightens folks a little bit about what domestic violence is. It's not actually the criminal charge. Number two, you will very likely be getting an assessment. And three, be prepared sometimes, if that's how you grew up or you think is a norm, that people are going to have some kind of a tough reality check for you, because it is something that just simply can't continue. So hopefully that's helpful to you. Remember, always ask a local defense attorney in your area where you were charged, because they are going to have the best advice on where to go for those assessments, how to comply with probation, and putting forth your proof that you're in compliance. But always local attorney is best. So we're in Kitsap County in the state of Washington. If you have an issue there, we'd love to help you. Otherwise, again, call a criminal defense attorney in your area for the best advice. Thanks.